Talking 42nd Street, alley hoop finger roll. Ain't nobody checking me. Crossover through the legs, step back, hit a three. Still up in the hood, but got big baller tendencies. She just trying to get flued out to John Kennedy just to see the Knicks play, make a couple memories. New York, if you ain't from here, don't pretend to be. And if you ain't rocking with the Knicks, you an enemy. Yeah, look at us, whole city is wild. This is New York, why y'all ever counted us out? Any game we attend, yeah, we taking it now. Fast break on the court, all up and down. Lead a garden in the pigsty, yeah, we get it on this side. Bacon, egg, and cheese, or the lobster mac with the ribeye. Either way, we winning the overtime if we get tired. Get it with the team, yeah, that's just something we live by. Hey, yo, first quarter in, we gon' turn it up. Gotta warm up first, then we taking it dub. By the third quarter in, no, they ain't catching up. Gotta stay in the lead before that shot clock buzz. If the Knicks get a win, we gon' do it again. Make the finals once before, we gon' do it again. Bounce back in the fourth, we gon' do it again. It's been a while since the chip, but we gon' do it again, yeah. Yo, put your hands up. If you rockin' with the Knicks, put your hands up. Yo, put your hands up. If you from New York, put your hands up. Yo, look, put your hands up. If you rockin' with the Knicks, put your hands up. Look, put your hands up. Hey yo, New York City, put your hands up. Sky, baby.
What up, what up, what's going on? It's your boy, Bishop D-Lo. We're here, you're there. It's the Church Guys Sports Show for July the 8th, 2025. And we are excited on this Tuesday as the Knicks have introduced their new head coach. Today, Knicks introduced Mike Brown as the 32nd head coach in franchise history. Press conference was today. A lot to unpack from what Coach Brown said in his presser this afternoon. As he talked to the New York media, also did a spot with Alan Hahn, who is one of our Knicks pre and post game and part-time analysts on game telecasts, both on TV and on radio. But it's a new era at Madison Square Garden in terms of coaching, and Coach Brown, I would say, won the press conference. He was gregarious. He said all the right things, did all the right things. Now it just remains to be seen what will happen come October. But before we get to October, there's a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. So, of course, as always, we want to talk to you. So we ask that you do what you always do. We want you to like, share, tag, comment. Let's get into this conversation. I think I fixed the issue that we were having to where I wasn't able to see comments come up on the screen that were sent to my personal page. If somebody's watching on my personal page, do me a favor and put a comment in real quick. Let me just make sure it's fixed. Put a comment in on my personal page. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put a comment in on my personal page and just see if it works, just so I can make sure that everything is working properly. But we are excited here to talk some sports with you. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X. We are everywhere you want to be. And we are excited. So please share it out. Share out this as we go into our conversation for today. Again, New York Knicks introduced Mike Brown as the 32nd head coach in franchise history. And, you know, again, he said all the right things leading into today. So we're going to look and see how things are shaking out for the New York Knickerbockers as far as that goes. Yes, Tesfa, you did it. Yes, and it is working. Yes, awesome. Yes, Knicks rule. Thank you for putting that in there so I could just make sure it is working, and it is working properly. Thank you. Thank you, Tesfa Dennis. Thank you very much for putting that in there so I can make sure it is working. So, again, share, like, share, tag, comment. Hopefully the fellas will be coming on shortly as we prepare to get into this conversation as we are live today. So, for those of you who got a chance to watch the press conference, why don't you tell me what you thought of the press conference today or any highlights you might have seen on social media with regards to Mike Brown being introduced today as the head coach of the New York Knicks. I'll give you my thoughts while you guys are deciding what you want to say and what you want to do as far as putting it in the comments, because we definitely want to have a two-way conversation with you tonight. I looked at it as, again, like I said, he won the press conference. He said all of the right things in terms of being the head coach of the Knicks. He talked about the iconic place that is Madison Square Garden. He talked about it not necessarily being a dream job, but he talked about how New York is one of the most knowledgeable markets there is, if not the most knowledgeable market, how the Garden is iconic and a great place to be. But the thing that stuck out to me the most, and I want to get into this a little bit more. We're going to talk about it we know pretty much who the starters are going to be. And we're going to talk about this a little more. I want to dissect it. He said what excited him the most about becoming head coach of the Knicks was the roster. The roster. That's interesting to me, given that this is, for the most part, with the exception of the two signings that just happened to bolster the bench, the roster for the most part is the same as it was. Again, what we're looking at is a projected starting five right now of course, Jalen Brunson at the 1, Mikal Bridges at the 2, OG Anunoby at the 3, Karl Anthony Towns at the 4, and Mitchell Robinson at the 5. And let me show you the 5 guys that are projected to be a part of our bench. The 5 gentlemen that are projected to be a part of our bench going forward. This is what our bench looks like. Our projected bench, projected second unit: Miles McBride, Jordan Clarkson, Josh Hart, Gershon Party, who will get spot minutes. Now, I want to talk about this thing away from the bench that was in place for last season, who I thought was, quite honestly, a fairly decent bench that this is off of a team that just came out of the Eastern Conference Finals. This Knick bench that will be out here for us as far getting things done in the second unit. Jordan Clarkson, who is very much will be okay. That should have fixed things for us. We're back. Let me know if everything is clear, loud and clear. Testing 1 2. Can you hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me loud and clear? If you can hear me loud and clear, put it in the comments for me. But as I was saying, this projected second unit is probably going to be one of the best in the NBA. Jordan, along with Ariel Hukporti. Hart, who is to be one that can, who is at Olympics last year. They've been showing that dunk that he had on LeBron a couple of times, over and over again. And of course, Ariel Hukporti, will round that out as our spot 5 man. And I think this rotation, the second unit, is going to be very, very strong and very, very good for the Knicks leading into this next phase in this next season coming up. A lot of good things that are getting ready to happen for the Knicks as far as that goes. Again, y'all like, y'all share, y'all tag, y'all comment. We want y'all to be a part of the conversation. There we go. All right. Everybody should be able to hear me nice and clear now. We refreshed and reset, so we should be good to go. All right. So hopefully everybody can hear me, everybody can see me, and we are good to go as far as what I was saying. I think the Knicks are in a position where they have added great bench depth. Jordan Clarkson, checking the stats since 2019, has scored the most bench points in the NBA, period. In the last 5 seasons, he has the most bench points, period. Gershon Yabusele coming off scoring 11 points off the bench, shooting 38% from deep. Last year with the Philadelphia 76ers off their bench. Again, did a great job in the Olympics last year with his home country of France. And then, of course, now him joining the New York Knicks. He's an able defender who can play the 3, the 4, and the 5. So you've got Jordan Clarkson, who is an able-bodied combo guard who actually can take some of the ball handling pressure off of Jalen Brunson. I'm interested to see what a backcourt of Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Brunson together will look like at times. That's a very, very interesting dynamic that I think is going to wreak some havoc going forward in terms of what's going to happen in the NBA going into next season. So we're excited to hear and excited to see what the Knicks are going to bring to the table. But let's hear from the coach, the new head coach of the New York Knicks, in his own words. Yes, Gershon Yabusele, that's the dude that dunked on LeBron in the Olympics. That is him. Yes, he is now a member of the New York Knicks. So that's going to be absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. He has no fear, and I love the way he plays. But let's listen to just a few of the first comments that came from the new head coach of the New York Knicks in the person of the head coach, Mr. Mike Brown. 1 second. Let me get this up. Okay, 1 second while that's loading. And while it's pulling up, again, like, share, tag, comment, get into the conversation as we prepare to get into a lot of what's going to be happening. But in just a few short seconds, we will hear just some of the first things that were said from Coach Mike Brown.
A sustainable, winning culture that produces championships. That's why I'm here. I'm fortunate to know what it takes to create that success. A lot of hard work, a high level of commitment, and a focus on today.
Those were some of the first comments as Bishop L joins us. Those were some of the very first comments in his opening statement, if you will, at today's press conference. 32nd head coach in Knicks history, Mike Brown. L, give us your thoughts.
I think he's the guy that's going to get us to the championship. I really believe that this is the coach that's going to get us to the chip. He knows how to coach his way to the championship. He knows how to coach on championship teams as an assistant coach. He's 150 games over 500 as a winning coach. I really believe that with the squad that we've put together, we have the bench, and the bench that we have are all qualified to be starters in their own right on other teams. I believe that he's going to stretch this team. I think he's going to use this bench. I think he is definitely going to make the best out of what we have. And with the way that the Eastern Conference is at this point, it's really a wide open gate for us, barring our entire starting 5 getting injured and not being able to play the entire year. I don't see anything stopping us from getting to the chip. If it doesn't happen this year, I really believe it'll definitely happen this year, but I'm leaning more towards this year.
This is our projected start. I'm sorry, this is our projected second unit, by the way.
That's our
for those
second
that are
unit.
watching. This is the projected second unit. Again, Jordan Clarkson, most points off the bench in the NBA the last 5 years.
The last 5 years, he's at 3,000 something. So, Josh is coming off the bench with super energy. I think a lot of people are really sleeping on this dude, Gershon Yabusele. He can score on all three levels, and he is defensive, and he has that grit. He has that New York edge to him. I'm being so totally serious. I think this coach is the coach. I honestly, seriously believe that this coach is the coach. He knows how to coach greatness. He knows how to coach individuals who are considered the greatest of all time. He knows how to coach under pressure. I mean, having a player like a LeBron, having a player like a Kobe, you know that he's no stranger to coaching in pressure cook moments, because there are levels of expectation that come just from you being the coach of those guys. So I would be surprised if we do not win a championship within the next 2 years. I'm leaning more towards this season. I honestly believe that we have what it takes to win this season.
In their one-on-one conversation, Alan Hahn asked Coach Brown. He said, how do you plan to deal with the high expectations of New York? And Brown, I loved Brown's answer. He says, nobody has higher expectations than me. That's why I took the job. He said that nobody has higher expectations than me. And the thing that stuck out the most, I pointed it out in my open, L, is he said one of the Han asked him, what prompted him to take the job. He said he loves the roster. When you think about that, one of his biggest issues, and I went and researched it just to make sure I was right, and I was. One of the things that contributed to his demise in Sacramento had nothing to do with his coaching, but he complained a lot to the front office that he didn't have big enough wings. All he could talk about is the fact that he's got wings galore in New York. When you think about it, Sacramento with that small team was top 6 in offensive rating. He believes that this Knicks team could be even better because now he not only has athleticism, but he has the size that he needs. Because people forget that Yabusele can also play the 3. So Yabusele can play the 3, the 4, and the 5. So if you want, so the way he can tinker with this lineup, which he's going to do, you could see Clarkson and Brunson on the floor together.
There's my concern.
What's that? Well, he also said that his desire is for the Knicks to play faster.
There's my concern.
So I know he's going to be on Jalen to be in shape.
Jalen does not play fast. Jalen is not a fast-paced point guard, which means you're going to have to get frustrated with the fact that he wants to bring the ball up slow and take 10 seconds. Well, he can't take 10, but take the entire 7.5 seconds to come across half court. Or you're going to have to pull him off the ball.
And that's why I said I'm interested to see Jalen and Clarkson together. Because Clarkson's going to run. Clarkson's high energy.
He doesn't get tired.
Gonna run.
His jersey numbers should just be Gatorade.
He'll be wearing 00 for the New York Knicks as he has worn for other teams as well. But I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see what it looks like with Yabusele at the 3, Cat at the 4, and Mitch at the 5, which gives you a brutish front line if you need to do that at times. It gives you a brutish front line.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see when they decide to go small, when you could have Yabusele at the 5, OG at the 4, Mikal at the 3, Jordan Clarkson at the 1, with Josh Hart or Miles McBride. There are so many options now that it's really scary to see how it's going to be really scary to see somebody who is offensive minded. And I love the last question that Alan Hahn asked him in their one-on-one. He asked him, if there's one thing that you've learned in now your 20 plus years of coaching. And I love Mike Brown's answer, and it was almost a shot at Tibbs to a certain extent, even though he said
you gotta
I love
learn
Tibbs,
how
he's
to
a friend.
adjust.
But he said
do not make the necessary.
his
he said,
response
if you don't evolve,
yep.
if you
That
don't
was his
evolve,
response.
you will get left behind in this field of work that we do.
Yep.
You have to learn how to adjust with the times. Learn how to adjust. That is what he said. And just to answer test for Dennis, yes, that's the dude that rammed it.
Yep.
On
That's the dude that he
LeBron
dunked
James in the
on.
Olympics.
On Braun. Oh yeah, Sam. When we'll see Deuce and Jordan Clarkson together, that's gonna be scary because those guys just gonna get out and run and defend. So I could see those two pressuring the ball 94 feet, which we didn't do under Tibbs. And getting with those two with Josh Hart out there on the wing, the three of them together on defense, the other team's guards
Last
are in
season,
trouble.
we were dead last in bench scoring. That's going to change.
Yep. 21.5 points per game. Oh, yeah. It changes just from having... Because Yabusele and Clarkson together alone outscored our bench. Clarkson averaged 16 off the bench. Yabusele averaged 11 off the bench. That's 27 points off the bench. The Knicks only averaged 21 off the bench as a team.
And I don't want anybody to panic. What you are going to see is you're going to see these numbers go down for Jalen Brunson. And
I'm fine with that. If he wins the championship, who cares?
You're going to see. What you're going to see with this squad, with the team that we have now, is you're going to see a well-balanced attack. So you may wound up seeing more 5 and 6 players in double figures a night. It won't be high double figures. Of course, you'll get some nights where somebody goes off and has to score like 35, 40.
Yeah, of course.
You'll have those nights occasionally, but it won't be necessary because of how shorthanded the entire Eastern Conference is. You're going to see...
If he averages 23 and Cat averages 22...
we're going to be fine.
We're fine.
We're going to be fine. I honestly believe that this is the year. I honestly believe that Mike Brown is the coach that gets us where we're trying to go.
Well, we definitely want to believe it as fans. Like I said it earlier, he said all of the right things today. I believe he's going to implement them because everyone's always said he's a man of his word. During the in-between time, they did talk to Wally Szczerbiak, who is one of the Knicks analysts, who played for Mike Brown. In Cleveland. He was on that 66-win team that fell short, losing to Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals during LeBron's very early career. And even Wally said, Mike Brown had him playing defense like he never played in his career. That's saying a lot because Wally Szczerbiak was not known as a defensive player at all. At all. And you got to remember that Cleveland team was LeBron and 11 other guys. The only other halfway all-star on that team was an aging Zydrunas Ilgauskas. People forget that because that was early LeBron. He got 66 wins out of, I think LeBron was in his
19.
second year. Second year. He was 19 years old. So if he can do that with LeBron and 11 guys, no disrespect to them, they're NBA players, but he didn't have a super team. There was no Kyrie Irving.
No J.R. Smith.
There was no Kevin Love in his prime.
J.R. Smith.
There was no J.R. Smith. There was no
I think they had
Shumpert.
Ilgauskas on that team.
Yes, Zydrunas Ilgauskas was the only other all-star on that team, and his all-star games was behind him.
Larry Hughes on that team.
Larry Hughes, again, who was at the end of his career, and they won 66 games. So can you imagine what he'll do with this roster? I'm not going to say the Knicks going to win 70, but I'm just like, Can you imagine what he could do with this roster? If everybody, of course, obviously,
And they're going to have
everybody buys
offensive
in.
plays this year, too.
Oh, he's going to run plays for Mikal Bridges. He's going to run plays
And
for
that's
OG
what-
Anunoby. He's going to get
Yeah,
them
that's
involved in
what
the
Wally
offense.
said today. Wally was saying, you're going to see him.
Yes, Sam, they're going to run scrimmages.
Wally was saying, you're going to see him have to. Ooh. I'm watching
you
yesterday's Raw. These storylines are wearing me out. I hate it.
Yeah, Tesfa. I think we're looking at our third straight
Absolutely.
50-plus win season. I will say that. Yes. I mean, I'm not gonna jump out the window and say 70, but I'm definitely
There's
guaranteeing
no more 70
50
win
plus.
70 win teams in the league ever again. You're never going to see that ever again. I seriously doubt you will ever see another 70 win team ever again. That's gone.
Well, I don't know. In with the Knicks, if the Knicks
Dwayne,
are healthy,
Dwayne,
and
that's
the Eastern
gone.
Conference,
Dwayne,
Let-
no
let-
one's
let
winning
me-
70
let me
games
finish my thought.
again. It's gone. It's gone. Wishful thinking, but it's gone.
Okay.
No one's winning 70 games.
Right, Tesfa, they gonna actually have layup lines. Yo, this team didn't practice. What NBA team doesn't practice? What is that?
Mike Brown's going to be.
The player
Mike
said he
Brown's going to
didn't.
be cursing them out
Oh, they
in
gonna
the
practice.
practices and everything.
And that's what they need. Because Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, they like Tibbs or whatever as a man, I'm sure. But Jay Wright wasn't the easiest coach to play for. If you ever watch some of those old Villanova clips, he was hard on them players. He coached them. That's what they're used to. So I think they'll be just fine with Mike Brown. So looking into obviously what's getting ready to happen, also announced, obviously Summer League does start on Thursday in Vegas. For Summer League has actually already started. The California Classic was over the weekend, but that don't really count. Nobody really counts the Summer League until Vegas starts. So the Vegas Summer League starts on Thursday. Knicks played their first game on Friday
I'm trying to see,
in Vegas.
I'm trying to see
and
how
then
many sky miles I got on Delta.
Try to jump on a
I'm
flight
trying to
real
jump
quick.
on a flight.
Oh yeah, no practice is probably why they ran so many, and they said that for the starters, he gave them constant days off because he knew he was going to play them a million minutes. And no, I would rather you rest them during the game so that they're fresh and practice so that you can work on stuff to do in game. That's what you need to be working on. Those are the things that need to be worked on. But also announced, obviously, Media Day is September 24th this year. Media Day is early for the Knicks for a very important reason. They're going to get that Saudi money.
Dubai.
The Abu Dhabi Games, Knicks and Philadelphia 76ers, October 2nd and 4th from Abu Dhabi. So they will be headed out there to play 2 games, preseason games, albeit. But, the Knicks, they're going to get that some of that Arab money. I ain't mad at it. So they're going out there. Then they'll return and go into their regular training camp after that, which, again, I think bodes well for them and not really for the rest of the league, because that actually kind of technically gives the Knicks an extra week and a half of practice that everybody else ain't going to get. So, and Mike Brown going to make sure they're ready for Abu Dhabi. Even though it's preseason, he going to make sure they're ready for Abu Dhabi, because I can't see him going over there and not
He's gonna put on the show.
putting on a show.
It's gonna be great. We got a whole squad for Media Day.
So
plenty of content. It's gonna be. This is gonna be a special season.
Ready to fast forward to October.
What team will give us a problem this year? Cleveland.
In the Eastern Conference, nobody has passed as superintendent.
What's up, y'all?
Joined
David Thibodeau. let's
No, he
let's
completely
speak
gone now.
to. I would love to hear what you have to say about our new coach, Davey. How do you feel? Because I know that you still grieving the loss of Tibbs.
The loss of Tibbs.
He,
I
well,
don't think Davies
I
grieving
think
anymore.
Mike
I don't think
Brown
he
was
is.
the best that we could do with who was out there. And I like Mike Brown. I like Mike Brown, but it's a lot of pressure on him. But I think he's built for it because he comes from a winning culture. I didn't know his record was that comparable, that good, just as good as Tibbs. There's really no drop off there.
It's actually
It's
better
it's
than
better
Tibbs.
than Tibbs. It's
Of the coaches with 800 total games coached, he is actually fifth all
I ain't
time.
mad at it.
and let me
I
say
mean-
this, guys, because I know that there's a lot of our organization caught a lot of backlash for firing Tibbs and not being able to get a head coach as in like overnight, right? I know that it looked a little sketchy, but these guys, they do this for a living. Leon Rose, World Wide West, they do this for a living. They had to know that they were not going to get a Jason Kidd. They had to know that. It was not foreign, right? It is a professional courtesy. It is a professional courtesy to ask teams, can you speak to them? Because you never know what the dynamics are between the coach and the organization relationship-wise. And if I ask you, can I speak to him, and you give me permission to speak to him, that means you're giving him an opportunity or an option to go elsewhere because he may want to quit. If he decides he wants to go and coach someplace else, you no longer have to pay him anymore. So it wasn't like the Knicks was out here lost, tossed, and driven like a ship without a sail. That's not what it was. They had to do their just due. They had to search out the entire league. Trust me when I tell you, Mike Brown was always on the list.
They never said nothing about it.
They don't have to. Mike Brown was always on the list, and so was the other dude that got fired from the other Mike
Taylor Jenkins,
no, not
What's
Mike
that?
Brown.
Brown. I mean Mike
Mike Malone.
Malone.
He was on the list as well. There were plenty of guys that was on the list. At the end of the day, they had to do the just do. They had to do the research. They had to go thorough. That's what I liked about Leon Rose's statement when he wrote it out yesterday. After thoroughly, even James Dolan said they thoroughly went through this process. They thoroughly went through it. Now is Mike Brown the best coach?
So thorough that they
Yeah.
interviewed
Is
Dawn
Mike
Staley.
Brown the absolute best coach? That remains to be seen. Do I think that he is a very good choice for this group of guys that we have getting on the court?
It's all
I
about
think this
fit.
is about the
I
best.
agree.
This is a great fit. Let's think about this. Mike Brown is
About
in our
fit.
age bracket. He's only 55 years old. I'm 51. Load is about to be 50. Davey, you what? 49, 50.
I'll be 47 next week. Don't try
Davey
to
the
give
young
me
one.
that.
He's the baby of the group.
Loose here.
Davey's the baby of the group.
But Mike Brown, you're thinking you're talking about a coach who thinks with a progressive basketball mind.
Right.
He
He's only
He
one
has
generation removed from his players.
exactly.
He is two generations
Right.
removed.
Which
That's important.
means he can relate to this culture of players. I'm looking at him today, and before I even looked up his age, which is 55, I'm saying this guy's pretty young, This guy understands the assignment. This guy understands who he's coaching. He understands what kind of a league he's coaching in. He understands that it can't be just one player. You're drilling one player down everybody's throat. He understands that this ball got to get spread around. He understands how to play in today's culture.
All got to move.
And so, with that being said, I think he is, because I don't think Mike Malone was a good fit for this group of players. I think that was getting Tibbs all over again.
He's a champion.
I understand he's a champion.
So is Mike Brown. Maybe not as a head coach, but you got to remember, Mike Brown is a coach that's been to the finals 6 times, but as a head coach and as an assistant. 6
he knows what it takes.
times.
He is fully aware.
I mean, and he was never the second row assistant coach. This guy was the lead assistant on those teams.
Minutes, because I do want JB's father up in film.
Yo,
we gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. But Mike Brown was the lead assistant. He was the lead assistant the last time Steph Curry won a championship.
wow.
He was the lead assistant. He was the lead assistant
And
in
he
San
coached
Antonio.
superstars, man.
He won 66 games with a 19-year-old LeBron James and 11 other players. Again, taking nothing away from them, they were NBA players, but the only one who was even a remote all-star on that team was Zydrunas Ilgauskas, who was at the end of his career. And they won
Larry
66
Hughes.
games. With Larry Hughes.
Yeah.
Wally Zerbiak, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, and LeBron.
And
And they
LeBron's
won
father.
66 games.
What's
Yeah,
his
they lost to
father
Dwight
name?
Howard in the
Delonte
conference
West?
finals. Yes, and Delonte West.
Yeah.
LeBron step pops.
So I'm not mad at it. You know, if we didn't get Woodson, like he should have got another job. But I'm glad we snatched him up. Because if we had to settle for a rookie coach like the boy out of Cleveland, if we had to settle for somebody like that, it would have been a problem. So this is I'm not mad at this. He's been there. He's had LeBron, he had Kobe, he's had Steph.
LeBron, Kobe,
So
Pau Gasol.
he
Steph
understands
Curry,
the mindset, not of
Draymond,
just
Clay.
all-stars, but superstars.
He was an assistant under Pop
With Tim
when he was
Duncan.
coaching Tim Duncan and them. So, like he know what he's doing. He's been around winning cultures, so he knows what it is to build a winning culture. And I love that was his first comment. No slight to Tibbs, but he's like, we're here to build a sustainable winning culture that will bring championships.
Not one.
But we gotta be big.
Yes.
We shit, y'all. We gotta give him some leeway. We gotta give him a leash.
No, I hear you, Davey. I hear you. The person that I feel has to get this the leeway that you may be talking about is the dude from Cleveland that you were just speaking about. The dude from Cleveland, we would have had to wait for that. Mike Brown is a proven coach.
He's gonna come in ready.
Let me tell you what
to
Mike
win.
Brown is doing right now. He's watching replays of all last season of the Knicks.
No, Mike Brown didn't coach Kyrie.
That's the
Kyrie
coach.
wasn't there yet. With that 66
That's
win
the
team,
coach
he
that
wasn't
we
there
have
yet.
right now, Davey. Right now, he's watching videotape of every single game 1 to game 82, maybe game 1 to the last game of that Indiana Pacers series, and he is learning this team. And this,
Y'all think? I saw a clip. He was cussing them players out.
and I want him to do it.
You
I
think
want him to wear them out.
players making 50, 60 million a year? You think they built for that?
I think that
It's all about. I think it's all about
This
fit.
team
This
can
team is
handle
built
that.
for that.
this team, we don't have prima donnas. We don't have guys
No.
that are spoiled millionaire basketball players. We have guys that are gritty.
Right.
Now, Cat, he might get a little.
We joke. No, I was gonna say we joke about Cat, but to a man, when you watch when you watch him play, Cat is gritty too. His celebrations is a little sassy. But as a Dave, stop. But as a player, I think Cat wants to be coached
Whoa.
hard.
Boy.
Hey,
Stop, man.
Jesus.
Yo, stop.
I'm excited about the season. But I tell you one thing: if we start winning off the cup, we're gonna forget about Tibbs.
No,
Every
you're gonna forget about Tibbs because we forgot about him a long
y'all
time
ain't
ago.
forget about
We
him.
already
Tibbs.
forgot about him.
Y'all ain't
You
forgot
already
about him
forgot
yet.
about Tibbs.
They still talking about it.
Tibbs is
They
in the
still
rearview
saying
mirror,
we
bro.
shouldn't have fired Tibbs. That's
Those
the
are people who
I don't know
don't
who's-
understand the dynamics of coach-player relationship. These are guys anybody that's saying we shouldn't have fired Tibbs are people who just watch the game. They're not individuals who have an understanding of the game and understand first of all, you saw 3 quarters into the season when he lost his team. He lost his team long before the playoffs started. He'd been lost his team. When Mikal Bridges came out and was like, yes, I had a conversation with the coach. I was telling the coach that he needs to play the bench a little bit more because he's stretching the time on the starters, and we're not going to be ready for the playoffs, and he can't play us out like this. He's running us on the ground. And then he came out and said the conversation happened.
never happened.
He quit that day. He didn't have to get fired. He quit that day. He quit. He lost his team. Listen to me. Them boys is tired. I don't care how young they are. 82 games, averaging 36 minutes a game. That's a lot. Bumping and banging. That's a lot. And I'm sure those guys want to stretch their career as long as they can. You can't stretch your career with those minutes like that. You'll be gone in 7 years if you keep playing like that. You'll be gone. There's no way that they would be able to realistically extend their careers playing under Tibbs.
Yep.
I'm with it, man.
All facts.
So
I'm with it. We're gonna see. I think, and then what makes it better? The East is open right now because of all the stuff.
Wide open.
Tibbs gonna be the manager at one of the concession stands at MSG.
I do it.
MSG,
Listen,
Sam.
I do it for $10 million a year.
Well, and I'm not. Tibbs did change our culture, man. We can't dog that man.
No,
we can't.
Absolutely.
Even
Again,
Mike Brown
none of us took
gave
that
him
away
his
from him.
props.
Yes, he did.
You could be eating pizza online right now, knowing that I am a pizza guy and I can't. Like, I'm on a diet right now. You would be doing that? Thanks.
I didn't know you was on a diet. I'm sorry. I didn't know you was on a diet.
Even Mike Brown gave him his props. Like, yo, he's a great coach. He's a great coach. But at the end of the day, you have to know how to coach in the culture that you're in. I'll use this for an example.
True.
COVID came. None of us as pastors were streaming and going through all of the changes we go through to make sure that our broadcast is acceptable online. We adjusted. We adapted to the times, and we realized that ministry became virtual, and it was a hard turn to the left.
Yeah.
But we made the adjustment. And that's the same thing that anybody has to do in any profession that they're in. I don't care what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And we
Even
didn't have years to figure it out. We had weeks to figure
we
it
have
out.
weeks to figure it out. Even the Lord said, "Behold, I do a new thing." Even God Himself, who said, "I am the Lord, I change not." Even He said, "Behold,
He changed.
I do a new thing."
He
He
changed.
didn't change, but what He was doing changed.
Yeah.
You know, that's a message. This is a sports show. I'm not here to preach, but I'm just using it as an analogy.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that, Butler.
You got to make an adjustment. Nobody has a television in their house where they got to get up from the couch and turn the dial.
No.
Everybody got a remote control now because they have adjusted to the times. If my grandmother was still alive, she'd probably still have her TV with turning of the dial. She might. But what changed all of that? Let me tell you what changed all of that. Even if you had the television where you had to get up off the couch and change the dial, when cable came along, if you put that TV on channel 3, the cable box was turning the channel for you.
Yeah.
Things
Right.
had to change. You have to make
Had to
the
change.
adjustment. You have to learn how to operate, function in the season in which you are functioning in. And that's why I'm glad we have a 55-year-old coach who knows how to. He's 55 years old, probably the same age as the last guy, as Wally Zerbiak, probably about the same age. And Wally was saying, "Yo, he's one of the best coaches I've ever had."
Wow.
Yep. Got him to play
He said,
defense
"I
like
played
nobody else.
defense like I never played defense before, and I was coming off of injuries, and I played defense like I never played defense before." And we wound up.
I didn't know Mike Brown was a defense coach. I thought he was offense.
Oh,
But Sacramento
He's
had the #1 offense.
No, here's what he is. He is a versatile coach. He is
Whatever
a
you
coach.
give him.
He is a coach that can coach on both ends of the court. He had to be able to coach on both ends of the court. You was coaching LeBron and Kobe. No matter how defensive minded you were, at the point that you had number 8 and number 23,
Yes, sir.
you had to learn how to coach on the offensive end as well. This is going to be great. He was coaching in Golden State as an assistant coach, where it was all about offense.
Do you know he got mad at Kobe and benched him?
Yeah. I like it. This is our guy.
That's
This
tough
is the
stuff
coach.
there, boy.
I'm saying it. This is the coach that's going to get us a championship. This is
A
the
black
coach.
man. A black man
That's-
named Mike.
That's very high.
A black man.
That's very
named
high
Mike.
praise.
We had Larry Brown. We had Huey Brown. Now we got Mike Brown.
A black bald-headed man in the garden named Mike.
Named Mike.
Now, uh-oh.
Yep, we had one before named Woodson, so another Mike.
I'm with it, man.
This is the coach.
I'm just glad they didn't feel the pressure to do this Dawn Staley thing with this whole Me Too movement and all this foolishness. Because they're going. New York would be the one. New York would be the team to do it first, and I'm glad they didn't make us tactically land.
I don't think that we are far away from seeing a woman assistant coach in the league, which I believe we actually have.
We
I
had
was
one,
gonna
Becky
say-
Hammond.
Yeah, you had Becky Hammond was in San Antonio with Pop. But I do think that Dawn Staley was a candidate to join Mike Brown's staff because she is another innovative basketball mind who has a relationship with Jalen Brunson.
So do you believe that that's why Rick Brunson got demoted?
I believe Rick Brunson got demoted because I believe Leon is going to allow Mike Brown to choose his own
That
lead
staff,
assistant.
baby. Let's get that staff, baby. I'm waiting to see what his staff is going to be.
From what I understand, Jordan Brink is going to be retained. Jordan Brink is going to be he was the video guy last year. He is the reason why Tibbs was so great at those challenges. his eye is ridiculous, and he's actually coaching the G League team, not the G League team, the Summer League team this year. So Jordan Brink has been retained. Mo Cheeks has been retained, and Jalen's daddy has been retained, but in a lesser role.
Well, he like an adjutant or something now, right? What? Where's Jalen's brother dad? Where's Big Brunson dad? What he doing now? He adjutant. He got a
He's an
cross.
adjutant now.
That was.
He got
He don't got no
demoted.
cross. He just got the rope. They got the rope.
They said, take that magenta off and put this black shirt back on.
They call him an adjutant.
But that gives Woodson more freedom because he can coach Brunson. You know, because a lot of times coming off that bench, Brunson would listen to his father more than he did Tibbs.
Well, when you find out that Tibbs wasn't actually coaching, can you blame him? But now it's a different scenario. It's a different dynamic now.
We're gonna see how this work out, man. You gotta come out the gate and win 15 straight. We gotta go 15-0 to start the season.
Not happening, Davey. Stop it. But not happening. Just like listen. Just like
Listen, I'm not going to, because I said earlier
that we're not coming out.
I didn't say they was going to win 70.
15-0.
I was
I
just
tell you
saying.
what though, I honestly believe he can come out the gate 10-0. But by game 15, we're probably playing one of the top teams in the East. We'll have to face somebody.
Schedule
Orlando
August
got better.
18th, by the way.
Orlando got better. Cleveland is
Yeah,
still right.
they got that Desmond Bain.
Yeah, Cleveland is still right there. Now Cleveland may digress because what they was doing last year is just not sustainable. What they did last year wasn't real. I don't even know.
No, they're
How that
not.
happened?
They're not. Cleveland's not winning 60 games, but I mean, but that's just like Cleveland won 60 games last season. 60
Not
games.
happening again.
How?
No.
Not happening again. And the team that we have, the bench, the team, this bench, like I said, can start on other teams.
Yes.
This is
And I'm telling y'all, we gotta give it up. This bench is way better than the bench Tibbs had.
We don't know because he never played.
Come on, Cam.
We don't know what Tibbs had on his bench, right?
We got Jordan Clarkson now.
Every time I saw Campaign come in the game,
But Campaign wasn't.
and every
scrub,
time
though.
Campaign got in the game sped up. The offense became a little more fluid. People were touching the ball in that offense. Now he had a crazy, wild shot, but it was going in.
It's real crazy. Jordan Clarkson is an upgrade
you
from
had
that.
Landry
Jordan
Shamet, who
Clarkson's still an upgrade from Campaign.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, so you can always upgrade, but we're not going to sit here and diminish Campaign and Landry Shamet, guys who are good NBA players, who just didn't get a chance to play because of this coach. Yes, Sam Jennings, Paulo Banchero signed his rookie max 5 years, $287 million.
When they sign that max, they fall off a little bit. Orlando gonna fall off a little bit. He got that money now.
God really
You got the bag.
He wanted me to preach.
Trust me, I understand. Yes,
God
I feel the
wanted
same
me
way.
to preach.
God wanted us to be
a
preachers.
basketball
Yes.
player for a living, and he shut that thing right down in such a way. He really wanted me to preach.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these guys are playing. These guys are getting a lot
But
of
back
money.
then,
to bounce
even
the
back
ball.
then, Butler, the money wasn't like it was for us, man.
It sure wasn't, but I would have taken some of that money and invested it in something and been okay.
Yo, I played against a dude, and he was the truth back then. Felipe Lopez. A lot of people don't remember him. I think he went to Rice.
So we remember
Felipe was from Rice. I played against
Felipe
Felipe.
with the
Lopez
Rice and
was
went on to St.
so
John.
I played on the practice team. I played on the practice team against him in St.
he
John.
was
Absolutely.
tough, but never in the NBA. I think he might have made his biggest contract might have been $3 million a year.
Felipe drafted. Was he drafted
Minnesota.
by Minnesota? He was drafted
Minnesota,
by
yep.
Minnesota. He left St. John's too early, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, he did 4 years.
Yes, he did. He sure did.
But he was the top. But still didn't make. He wasn't
Felipe
making nothing like these dudes is making. These dudes.
Felipe was really good. I just think that Felipe got caught up in the whole Kevin Garnett era of Minnesota and really could not get the kind of playing time that Felipe was very good. He went to Rice High School. He was very,
And he could barely
very
speak English too. That means he ain't talk English good.
He could not speak English.
Good at all.
He was not. He was not an English.
But
major
God knows
at all.
he killed us.
Not by a long
He
shot.
killed us.
You played against him at the high.
No, I didn't play against him. He played the high. I wasn't on the team yet. I was still like 9th grade. So only big name I played at the high was Steph Marbury. I played against Steph, and he kicked now Steph.
And back then, Steph Marbury was a problem.
He had. Oh my God, he had like 12 points.
D'Lo don't want to talk about it because that's D'Lo's.
talk about
That's D'Lo's division.
Dude,
I won't talk about it.
I never seen.
I saw Steph twice a year
I
for 4
never
years.
seen nobody like this,
I saw
man.
Steph twice a year for 4 years.
All that stuff you see
I
Steph
won't talk
Curry
about it.
doing, he was doing like pulling up from half court on us. He dropped 40, 35 in the second half. 5 points in the first half, 35 in the second half. The whole team, our whole team had 25 in the second half. Steph was the truth back then. I thought he was on drugs.
Steph put 27 on me in a playoff game.
He did what?
In the second half.
Huh?
He put 27 on me in the second half.
That's
of
what
a
he
playoff
do.
game.
That's what he do.
At Kingsborough. I will never
That's
forget
what he
it.
did.
Quarterfinals.
I played for Grover Cleveland. We didn't have to play no superstars in that.
Oh no.
Right. Y'all didn't have to worry about that in that division in Queens.
Oh no.
Grover Cleveland.
Y'all didn't have to worry about it.
That's Ridgewood.
No,
that's
Bro-
Ridgewood, Queens. We
Bro-
didn't have to
Brooklyn-
play nobody tough.
Brooklyn 1 and Brooklyn 1 AA and Brooklyn 2 AA were the
Absolutely.
premier divisions. Because you had the high in Brooklyn 1 and you had Lincoln, Grady, and us in Brooklyn 2. And I'm like,
Yo.
how are all three of us in the same freaking division?
My man
Spread it
Nolan
out.
Johnson.
And that's why the High kept winning Brooklyn 1 every year because they didn't have to play nobody. The only guys y'all had
They
to play
was
was like
easy.
Transit Tech.
They was
Transit
easy
always
work.
had a good team.
We had
Transit
Nolan.
always
We
had a
had
good team.
my man Nolan Johnson. He's like 6'5", our forward.
The high had to play. The high had to play Transit Tech, but the high also had to play Thomas Jefferson.
South Shore. Yeah, but Jefferson wasn't. But Jefferson wasn't that in the 90s. Jefferson got like that in the 2000s. They got like that in the 2000s. They were okay in the 90s. The Jefferson got like that in the.
Yo,
after we
Jeff
all
had some
graduated.
ballers, but they never academically. They always was missing it.
Y'all,
They was dumb.
the other team y'all had to deal with. Y'all had to deal with them, and after it was probably maybe your junior year when they bumped Robeson up to Brooklyn 1 because Robeson was in the B division for a while, and then they bumped him up to Brooklyn 1.
Yeah. Paul Robeson. That was a tough team.
Robeson became a problem. Robeson became a problem.
Roger Shelton was
Yes.
the coach. Roger Shelton was a co-worker of mine during that time. That's when Tish Ingram used to be the science teacher in Paul.
Yes, she was. Ingram Brown now. Ingram Brown.
Yeah, Paul Robeson was all right back then. The other squad,
was a problem.
Prospect Heights.
Prospect Heights had a good team. Yeah.
Prospect Heights they made the movie Sunset Park after them.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
That movie was based
Yep.
off of Prospect Heights.
Off of Prospect Heights. That's true. That's true. But that was that. Listen, for those of y'all who watching across the country, there was nothing like high school. The PSAL.
Yo,
in the
somebody just said.
mid-90s.
Somebody just said
PSAL in
Lloyd
the mid
Daniels.
'90s was the best high school division. Oh yeah. Yeah.
What happened?
I haven't seen the Lloyd Daniels documentary yet. I have to see it. I haven't watched it yet. But I did hear they made one. I haven't seen it yet. Benjamin Banneker. Yeah, well, we was all graduated by then.
Yeah,
In the 2000s, I was out of the high in '96.
After your time. Yeah, in the 2000s.
I got married in
that's when they
2000.
redistributed everything and started. Right at that point, you was out, way
married
out of high
in
school.
2000.
At that point,
I was sending a kid to school
But-
at that time.
mid '90s, there was going to be a Brooklyn team at the Garden
Absolutely.
for the PSL championship every year. It was Brooklyn against everybody else.
Yeah.
You knew one of those spots was reserved for a team from Brooklyn 1 or Brooklyn 2, and then you had somebody from another part of the city.
Yeah.
That was '93 was that year. Manhattan Center had a pretty decent squad. They had 2 guys on their team, Mason Betha
Yeah.
and Cameron Giles. Y'all
Yo,
know them as
Cam could
Mason
really ball
Cameron,
back then, though.
but both of them, they were both really good.
Both of them.
They were both really good.
I mean, like,
Oh yeah, Grady was a problem. Grady was
as
a
a matter
problem
of
back
fact,
then. Yeah, Grady was in my division. That's right.
Cam-
I had to deal with Grady twice a year too.
Cam could have went pro.
Yeah.
He could have. He was just small though. He was a small guard.
Both of them. As
He
a
was
matter of fact,
fast. He was
of them-
fast.
both of them could have went pro. If the both of them was playing now, they would definitely be pro, because the league is smaller now.
Yeah, if they played in this era, yeah. If they played in this era. But yeah,
But
high
that
school
was-
basketball
that-
back
around
then,
that time,
that was
they-
a golden era. Somebody need to do a documentary
Yeah.
about that time.
Yeah, you'll find out
in
what
New York City
what-
high school basketball.
What you'll find out is that Cam or Mace, neither one of them could deal with that boy coming out of Virginia named Allen Iverson.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
Oh well, nobody was dealing with. Well, nobody was dealing with him. So that was the only person who gave him any kind of
Yep.
work was Steph.
Steph gave
That was
work.
it.
Steph gave him work.
Steph was the only one who gave him work. Everybody else was forget about.
Yeah.
Steph could have went pro out of high school, y'all. He could have went straight pro
could've.
out of high school. He went to Georgia Tech just to have
Kenny-
fun. He
But
just
I'm
had
glad
some
he-
fun down
I'm
there.
glad he
That's
took
it.
that.
Kenny Anderson talked him out of it. Kenny Anderson is the one
Right,
that
and it told him to
Kenny
go down
Anderson
there.
told him, nah, just take that 1 year,
But you,
go in the league.
I know you heard L because you watched 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. But did you hear his story though? He was going to Syracuse until Boeheim told him
Right.
he wasn't going to start this freshman year. Boeheim was like, "No, you're
Yeah.
going to start."
He said, I'm
What?
done. And the coach
Nope.
from Georgia Tech said, I'm gonna just give you the ball. I'm gonna give
Bobby
you the ball.
Crimmins. He said, "Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do, it's your ball. You got it."
Steph was
Smart man, Bobby Crimmins. He
Steph
took him to the
was-
Sweet
Steph
16 in
was
his
going
freshman
to-
year.
Steph was going to Georgia Tech during the height of Freaknik.
God almighty.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
And Freaknik was happening down the block from his school. That's where Georgia Tech is not in the country of Georgia,
No,
of
it's in
Atlanta.
this-
Georgia
it's-
Tech is on
It's in the
I-75.
hood. It's
My
in the
God.
hood.
No, that's not the hood. That's not the hood. That's the city.
Well, yeah,
We got caught out there with my father. We got caught out there. He had to do revival, and they didn't tell us what was going on. And we were driving, and some lady put up,
Yeah,
some
I was
lady,
in Georgia.
some
preaching
lady
during
put her
Freak.
tatas on the window. My father started bleeding the blood. Look here, the devil is a liar. That's quick stuff.
And Jesse Moore said, "Wait, Slow down.
Who called your dad to preach down there during Freaknik?
Bishop Bobby Henderson. Him.
Lord.
Got another story. Butler don't tell this one. We had a minister at our church, and he went to Butler's church to preach.
Uh-oh.
He didn't even get permission from my father, and he went over there and had a robe on with nothing under it. But
Whoa!
and Butler let him preach. And so he had on. Yeah, yes.
I couldn't. Yo, the Timothy Wright called me.
I'm not. The Varsity Restaurant in Georgia Tech. Oh, is it good, Sam?
I think it was funny.
Because these stories that Super.
No,
That's a true story. I swear it's true.
I'm not ready.
It was a.
I know. But that's the crazy thing about all your stories, Dave. They be true.
No.
But you get on here telling them.
It was at Christian Community. And
right. Because I know it was
the
your early
guy
days
got
of
up
pastor.
and was like, I'm getting ready to rock this church upside down. Like, he was dead serious.
Oh, that's...
My man got up and was like,
arrogance.
I'm
Okay.
getting ready to tear this church up. And, I mean, just commenced to talking about all that he was going to do. And my man Lawrence Saunders was sitting next to me, and he was like, yo, this man don't have no clothes on underneath his So I'm looking. So I'm like, yo, you know what?
Well, this
You
show
are
is taking a
absolutely
turn.
right. And my man is up, and he is bombing like his name was Saddam Hussein.
He was sending
Taliban warheads to his own house, brother.
Jesus.
And he was terrible. It was a 7 last words, and my man was up for 45 minutes, almost an hour. So I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was.
Who
I'm gonna
invited
tell
him?
you who invited him. You ready?
Yeah.
Stephanie invited him.
You want to text it to
Stephanie
me?
Simpson?
Let me.
That would make sense because she was part of the church at the time.
Sister.
No, at that time she was
Right.
going to Lawrence Saunders Church. Her mother was still a part of your church.
Yeah.
Her mother was
Stephanie was like, "Oh yeah, B, get him." So we got him.
She set you up because she know.
So
Wait till I gotta talk to her tomorrow too. Wait till I call.
So after that happened, I don't know how
You'll
the
be
word
like,
got
"Steph,
back
how you
to
do that to
Davy's
Bishop
father, but Davy's pops called my phone the next day.
Well, she's an overseer now, Testament.
Davy's pops called my phone the other day. He was apologizing, but he was also cussing that man out. Like,
Yeah, he was.
I was like, it's okay, Pastor Wright, it's all right. He was like, that stupid mother. I was like,
Went off on him. I ain't gonna say his name.
Lord.
He's a bishop. I ain't gonna say his name.
No.
You said his name
no,
on a couple of shows ago,
no.
actually. You said his name.
I ain't gonna say it tonight.
Don't you say it tonight. Don't you say it. I didn't remember hearing it, so just leave it.
God, my
I
head
didn't
hurts.
hear it, so
That thing was hilarious, man. That thing was hilarious. But back to sports.
Yeah.
Can we talk about what's happening with this Yankee
So-
squad? Is it time for Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone to go?
No, no.
I think it.
Don't you do that, Davey.
Dave
You a Met
don't want
fan.
nobody to get
What are you
fired.
talking about?
Dave don't want nobody to get. They want everybody to keep their job forever.
They started
He's a
out
Met
hot,
fan.
man.
They want everybody. Oh, she's doing great, Tesla. She's doing very well down in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Actually, getting ready to close on a brand new building.
They started out on
But,
fire.
man,
They started out on fire.
they have lost 10 of the. They have lost 18 of their last 28, and are now 3 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays, who
George
lead the division.
Steinbrenner when you need him?
He turning over in his grave because somebody would have
George
been fired.
Steinbrenner would not help you.
Cats
for-
would have got
He's
traded
not
by
helping for no
now.
team. You fire folks for the street. George Steinbrenner. You can that's the shortest fuse ever.
But
Yes.
he also produced the most
Yes, you do
championships
fire
any
folks for
owner has
losing
ever
streak.
produced.
Absolutely do.
He has produced the most championships any owner has produced in baseball.
When you put it that way,
If you're
And you know what?
telling people-
Most of his players that played for him, they love him. They loved him.
Yep.
yeah, he's a great man. He's just
And Brian
about his
Brian
business.
Gumbel said, Brian Gumbel
Always
asked
has
him,
been. He
do
about
your
his
players
business.
like you? Said, I don't care if they like me. I'm not interested in them liking me. They have to win a championship. I don't want to be liked by them. I want to be in parades.
Wow.
Every
Listen.
team needs an owner like that.
oh, Bootsy got the
Yeah,
Citi
he was
Field
playing
gig
for the
now,
Mets.
too. All right, Bootsy. That's why they won 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. They got
Well,
the
I'm gonna
Holy
tell you
Ghost
what
in
really
Citi Field.
happened with the Mets. They went on a losing streak when they put that pride flag up. As soon as they took that flag down, they started winning.
Yep, they had to deal with those losses to the. I'm not gonna call the Mets whack. Listen, the Mets are a game out of first place themselves behind Philly. That's gonna be
Yes,
a horse
it is.
race till the very end. I was looking at the schedule today, and it's weird. Rob Manfred don't know what the heck he's doing. Now, you saw last year that you knew the Mets in the National League anyway, the National League East. You knew the Mets, the Phillies, and the Braves were gonna be your top 3 teams. How is it that come September, after the Mets play the Phillies September 8th through 11th, that the 3 best teams in the East don't play each other again for the rest of the season?
Wow.
Don't you guys remember how when pennant races would happen, you played your division at the end of the year? Because that's when you determined
It was
who
almost
gonna
like the
win
playoff.
No more. Right. After that series, none of them play each other anymore for the rest of the season. The season ends September 28th. Rob Manfred don't know what he's doing.
Wow.
So
There are interleague games going on. Who's playing interleague during pennant race season? You play
Yeah.
interleague now. This is the time of the year to play interleague. But you playing your division in September. Maybe y'all, Al, correct me if I'm wrong. Dave, I know Dave agrees with me. I just think you would be playing your division. Think about it. In the NFL, in December, you playing your division. You're not playing nobody else. You playing your division in December in the NFL. In the NBA, you saw our schedule at the end of the year. Boston
Right.
twice. Cleveland, you playing against the teams that are in your conference that you have to go up against. Why is there a series against the Los Angeles Angels at Anaheim? Why are the Mets playing the Padres in September? What?
When we ought to be playing the
the hell is
Braves,
this?
we ought to be playing the Phillies.
You be playing. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one. Atlanta is playing the Marlins for one series.
No.
But the Marlins don't count.
That's a little league team.
I forgot
Terrible.
the Marlins were still in the league. They
Right.
bring back the turquoise Marlins.
That- yeah. the Florida Marlins. That is
Yeah.
Miami Marlins.
But I think the Mets. I'm
But
kind of shocked Soto didn't make the All-Star game.
I'm not.
that's
He's
an
doing.
I'm not
underlying
shocked.
issue. That
His season that he's having ain't no season he can have that gonna match that money. Nothing he can do gonna match that money. But he's having a good
well,
year.
so Soto's hitting 260. He had the best June of his career. He should have at least
Absolutely,
been a reserve.
absolutely. But they holding
He
that
should have at least
contract against.
he should have at least been a
No.
reserve. Well, no, the problem with the MLB is they still hold to that old rule that they've had forever, where every team has to have a representative on the All-Star
Not
team.
the
Which I think
Marlins.
is stupid. No, yes, even the Marlins, every team has to be represented on the All-Star team, which I think is dumb. The best players should be
Right.
representing at the All-Star game. Period. This should be the best players, not. And if it happens to be 4 Mets and 3 Yankees, so be it. So be it. Then you got Mark Leiter went down with an injury today. So the Yankee bullpen is dealt another blow.
Do we make the playoffs?
We lost Clark Schmidt to Tommy John surgery, so he's out for next season. Garrett Cole's out for this season. He had his Tommy John surgery already. Marcus Stroman, who wasn't even going to make the rotation, is now your number 2 starter. Carlos Rodon has been okay. Max Fried has been great. But the biggest problem right now is the Yankees have been feast or famine, and the pitching hasn't been there. The Yankees can score runs, but they can't hold leads because that bullpen is terrible.
Do we make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, because the American League is whack. American League is terrible this year.
So
The
what are we
Blue
going?
Jays are leading the East at the All-Star break.
So what are we going as a wild card?
I think they overtake the Blue Jays. I think they find a way to overtake the Blue Jays because the Yankees have too much hitting
Yeah.
not to win that division, and nobody in that division has great pitching. So they're gonna have to be the Bronx Bombers, and they're gonna win that division by outscoring everybody. The Yanks are a plus 150 run differential right now. That's unheard of. Plus 150. They're scoring at a historic clip, but they can't hold the lead because the bullpen's been bad.
I think it. Well, I think it's time for Brian Cashman to go.
I've been said that.
I think it's time.
This
for him
guy's
to go.
he got the GM for life. Like, what is that? Is that a thing?
He's blackmailing somebody. Like
He got some new pictures of Hal.
he's
He
blackmailing
got something. I
somebody,
don't know.
because he's GM as if he's a part owner at this point.
At this point, yep.
Um,
Like, this is the dude who has the greatest job security in the history of sports.
in the history of the world, because this man's been the GM for 30 years.
Jesus, has it been 30 years?
Just about, yeah. Just about, yeah. Just about. He took over in 98. He took over in 98, almost 30 years.
Woof.
Yankees ain't never had a GM this
Wow.
long. Gene Michael, who was our best GM and won a bunch of championships, didn't last that long.
If George Steinbrenner was alive right now, he would have fired.
Oh, a long time ago.
He'd have fired Brian Cashman. He would have fired Brian Cashman the first time we didn't make the playoffs after that 2009 World Series we got.
Do you think the Yankees are turning into baseball's version of the Cowboys?
I
Ooh.
don't know.
That's a great question.
Because they
That
living
is a
off of the
fantastic
championships
question,
they
David.
had in
And
the
oh
90s.
God, I hope not. I hope not. Right, Tesla. Let me put it in perspective for you. Toronto has not won the American League East in 30 years. Toronto has not won the American League East in 30 years. Last time that Toronto won the American League East, Joe Carter was on the Toronto Blue Jays. You remember Joe Carter. Joe Carter was on the Blue Jays.
We're beating
And
Seattle.
he hit that
right now.
home run. What's going on in the game against Seattle?
We're winning 4-0.
Let's hope the bullpen can hold on, because the starter's only going to pitch 5 innings. That's the other thing that the Yankees have gone too far left with analytics, and you saw it firsthand in the playoffs last year in the World Series when you took out Cole, who was dealing, and ended up losing that game. That's a completely the Yankees may have actually won. You know what? I won't even say they would have won the World Series, but I think that series goes 7 if Cole would have been allowed to finish that game. If Cole had been allowed to finish that game 2, I think that series goes 7. Even if they don't win.
I think
right, Tesfa. The last time the Blue Jays were in first place, you were 8 years old. That's crazy. That's crazy. The last time the Blue Jays were in first place, you were 8. Yeah, Cashman's been with the organization for over 45 years. He started as an intern. That's correct.
And now that man is the untouchable GM.
The untouchable GM. He is definitely the untouchable GM.
Yo,
and I don't understand
anybody in the Yankee organization think about firing him, they immediately disintegrate into dust.
Not disintegrate.
They disintegrate into dust, and their ashes go to Monument Park.
And right now, the Liberty and Aces are tied at 56 from the Barclays Center. Liberty have been in a little bit of a slide. They've been dealing with some injury issues over there at the Liberty. And I just thought it was interesting. I was in Dick's Sporting Goods today. I had to pick up some swim goggles for one of my kids. And I'm walking through there now. I live in the Richmond, Virginia area. We have no professional sports teams. So I'm walking through Dick's Sporting Goods, and there's Virginia Tech jerseys, there's VCU jerseys, and all that stuff, because that's all we got down here is college teams. I turned into the basketball section. Why is there a whole Caitlin Clark section?
What?
Yes.
A what?
Caitlin Clark.
A Caitlin Clark, Indiana.
In Richmond, Virginia.
In Richmond, Virginia, in my local Dick's Sporting Goods.
It's because you live in a Confederate state.
I didn't want to say it out loud, L, but I got shocked, and then I remember where I was.
I'll tell you this. You better get ready for it. Go to that same Dick's in about 6 months, and you see Cooper Flagg's section.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Not even 6 months. By the middle of summer league, which I wore my summer league shirt today. Prepare for it. But yeah, by the middle of summer league, you're gonna see Cooper Flagg stuff everywhere. Yankees leading Seattle 4-0. Mets trailing the Baltimore Orioles 6-2. In the top
that game was over.
I don't want to talk about the racism that I think is happening in professional sports, especially the racism I think is taking place in the World Wrestling Entertainment. Is that what it is? World Wrestling Entertainment?
WWE.
World Wrestling Entertainment, yes.
The WWE, the racism that I believe is happening and that I believe is also surfacing, coming to the light.
Well, let me hear your take on it. Why do you feel like there's racism coming to light in the WWE?
I'm just looking at the track record of a lot of things, a lot of the stories that are coming out into the open, and it's becoming very disappointing how the African American wrestlers are always getting the short end of the stick, always used as the butt of the people's jokes. None of them can ever hold a title at all with any significant length. It appears as if only the Caucasian individuals are prompted on the pedestal of WWE greatness. And I'm starting to see how these storylines are completely in favor of the Caucasian wrestlers. with the exception of you got the Jade and the the Naomi, but that little storyline is is black on black, like they're fighting themselves. You're not going to see any
I
of.
mean, it's the best storyline in the women's division right now.
It is the best storyline.
I mean, and don't get me wrong,
it's the best storyline.
the women have
division.
great wrestlers, but their storylines are terrible right now, other than Jade and Naomi.
Yeah,
I agree.
But my issue with that is you don't see championship happening within that storyline, and you also don't see any of the so-called champions or the great, the individuals that they put on the pedestal. You don't see any of them putting any of those young African American ladies over. I don't know, man. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm overreacting, but
No, I watched SmackDown this past Friday, and I watched the tag match in the women's division. And B Fab I had no idea she was as good as she was as a wrestler. And I'm looking at my TV, yelling at it, going, "Why is this girl not wrestling more?" They stuck her for a long time as a valet with the Street Profits, and this chick is dope in the ring. Young black girl. Where is Lash Legend, who we have not, who is an Amazon? This is somebody who could give the Nia Jaxes of the world a run for money. I'm with you, L. I'm with you.
Lord, I think your internet is a little choppy.
It's back. There's a storm going on right now in my area.
Got you. Is the WWE becoming a minstrel show? That's what you want to say, Butler?
That is a great question, Sam. I wouldn't say it's a minstrel show because, honestly, it's not even like the Junkyard Dog days or the Coco Beware days. There's no shucking and jiving going on. They're just not using us. Period. They're just not using. They're literally just not using us. They're not using our people at all.
And I'm happy to be back watching wrestling the way that I am, but it's a little disheartening. And the reason why it's disheartening is because there's clips that are coming out on social media, things that are coming to the light that raise some concerns about an era when I was really watching wrestling as a kid. Yeah, man, just I never saw racism in wrestling when I was in my teens.
It wasn't as overt. I'll put it that way.
It wasn't as overt, but now that guys are, retired guys are coming out and they're on podcasts. I mean, like, podcasts have exposed the world. And now that these retired guys, African American wrestlers, are telling their stories, it's making me look at individuals who I revered as wrestlers now, who I revered as wrestlers then as a teenager. It's making me look like, oh shoot, like Hulk Hogan don't like me.
Right. Terry Bollea is not your friend.
Bret Hart. Yeah, Bret Hart. Like, I mean, the
guy who encouraged us to say our prayers and eat our vitamins.
He doesn't like me. I'm that's wild. And I'm not sure if I'm overreact. I don't know. I'm maybe I'm in therapy right now.
Wait, who was the second person you said?
Bret Hart.
You said Hogan. Who was the second person you said?
Bret Hart.
Well, I don't know about that. Bret Hart's new wife is black.
Okay. No, I'm sorry, not Bret Hart. My bad. I'm sorry. Oh, the name escapes me. The name escapes me, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all good, but I know what you mean. I mean, it is interesting to see like the iconic people. It was crazy to find out that Undertaker's a Trump supporter. Broke my heart. Yeah, I'm sorry. You didn't know that. Yes, Undertaker's a Trump supporter. Him and Kane. They're Trump supporters. And so, I mean, it doesn't diminish what they did in terms of the art form, but, and I won't even say that they're not good people, but it does kind of give you a bit of a side eye when you find out certain things about their personal lives that makes you go, I don't know if I should be rooting for you. I don't know if I should be as big a fan of you as I am, because there's the off chance that you may not like me. Now, Undertaker was universally liked by everybody, including the black wrestlers. So I don't think that was ever an issue. I don't think he's racist. But I did find it very interesting that he was a Trump supporter. You're like, I just broke your heart. I'm sorry.
So like, how do we look at the sport now? Because I'm really concerned about Triple H,
Okay.
because I don't like I don't know where he stands, but I do know.
We love you too, sis.
Yeah, definitely be praying for your moms.
Praying for y'all. Yep.
This man comes from a family who his mother-in-law is on the Trump cabinet. Like yeah, I mean, like
The Secretary of Education.
yeah, like
How she got that job? But anyway. Nah, I can make jokes about that all night. But I mean,
so it's like
I'm not gonna hold that against him.
What are those conversations like at their dinner table?
What is the family dynamic like? Interestingly enough,
You know what I mean? Like when all of you voted for somebody who has signed off on a bill to eliminate everything that African Americans depend on to just survive in this country. And you have employees who are that color, who are of that African American persuasion. Like, what is the conversation about? Like, are you guys for it? Like, are y'all celebrating? Like, yeah, cut Medicaid, cut food stamps for these black niggers. Like, I mean, like, is that the conversation, or are y'all sitting at the table saying, I think that was just a little overboard, and we need to do something to help individuals who help to support our brand? Because at the end of the day, we are just as much a part of your revenue as Caucasians, Europeans. You're going to countries where we are the majority, and you're
Black and
making
brown
a
people.
ton of money.
hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, are we really looked at as just I don't know. I that was just on my heart, and I wanted to talk about it today because I'm continuing to watch wrestling, but I'm starting to see that everybody that's being everybody that's getting put over are the color of my shirt, not the logo.
I think it's a very nuanced conversation, and I think it's a great conversation that needs
I wish
to be
J Mac
tackled.
was on right now because
Yeah, I do too. I think that this is something that's right up his alley. I mean, and we're big WWE guys, but he's the biggest of all of us. But I think it's a very nuanced conversation in that Triple H is still an employee of a company. He's an employee of TKO Sports. And at the end of the day, he still has to do what TKO Sports wants. So don't think for a second that Nick Khan and all those people in the boardrooms are not the ones who are helping to make the decisions as to who is over and who's not. And a lot of that is based on revenue. I think more than anything else, they see green more than they see black and white. And I hate to say it because that's why I say the conversation is nuanced. But think about it for a second. Even in the heyday of you watching wrestling as a young child, when was the last time you saw a black wrestler as big money?
a black
We were
wrestler.
never cast as being big money, because that's the bottom line here. This business is about the bottom line. So they're going to push what's most marketable. And unfortunately for us, because I would say, I'll say it this way. I know that I wouldn't say, to your point, I don't think Triple H falls into that category, because he is on record as saying, for instance, Bianca Belair is his favorite female. In fact, the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, they are mad at Triple H because they feel like he pushes Bianca down everybody's throat. She's a beautiful black woman who is an absolute star in the ring, and she gets pushed. But audiences reject her because she's a black woman. She might be the most talented woman in the entire division. But ultimately, as much as he may want to get her to the level of Charlotte Flair type over, the blonde white girl who is a legacy because her daddy was the great Ric Flair, is going to be the one that gets the mega push, because at the end of the day, even though Bianca's the better wrestler and Triple H may want to do more with her, Charlotte is the draw. And it's unfortunate. But if you watch the way he books Bianca never loses clean. She's always back. She's always in or around the title picture. She's out right now because she's injured. She broke her finger. That's why she hasn't been on TV. But other than that, she's always in the middle of everything. That's Triple H. And there are people who are mad about that. As far as the men's side goes, Trick Williams in NXT is the most over superstar ever, but he won't get the call up to the main roster. Now, mind you, those NXT crowds are a little bit different because that's a younger audience. And, you know, the younger audiences, they don't really care about race. They want the best wrestler. They love Trick. But notice, Trick don't get called up to the main roster because the main roster is not ready to accept Trick.
Right.
Because that's a big, powerful black man. The only reason Dwayne Johnson was palatable is because he's half Samoan. It's the only reason. It's the only reason he's palatable. Because notice, he's the only one that leans into his African American heritage. But listen to how the announcers talk about him. He's the third generation superstar. They talk about the High Chief. But as great as Peter Maivia was, Rocky Johnson was a better wrestler. And that's his actual daddy. It's nuanced. Is it fair? No. But there, at the end of the day, it's about money. Kudos to Vince. Vince has always pushed black wrestlers, but he's never pushed them to Hogan heights because, unfortunately, we don't live in a world that will accept the main guy being 100% African American. We don't live in that world. And that sucks, but we don't live in that world, bro. We don't. You see what they did to Kofi? He put the title on Kofi only to have him get squashed by Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar's money. And Kofi was a nice story. Big E was a nice story. But Brock Lesnar is money. Roman Reigns is money.
Right.
They are racist toward green. That's my take. That's my take on it. But yes, and I saw Devon on the podcast as well, and he is right. There is a lot of other politics going on in the back, as far as wrestlers who don't like each other because they're black, don't like guys because they're black, which suck. But it's also good to know from that podcast that Devon said that there were a lot of superstars that stood up for him. Like, yo, you don't accept Devon, you can't be here. Nah.
Right.
But that's where it is. That's where it is. As we get ready this weekend, we will have Saturday night's main event Saturday. Goldberg gets the title. This is what I'm talking about. Money. Goldberg don't deserve no title shot. But you took the belt off of Jey Uso, a Samoan, a full Samoan.
Right.
You took the belt off of him to put it on Gunther because Jey versus Goldberg wouldn't have worked.
That wouldn't work.
It wouldn't have. Because you're trying to make money. That's all it's about. Because the match is going to be in Atlanta. That's Goldberg's hometown. You trying to sell out the arena. Bottom line. That's what it is. Does it? And I'm with Rikishi. I think they totally botched Jay's run.
What was that run like?
Like I don't have a problem with Goldberg having his farewell match, but why does it have to be for a championship? What happened to the good old fashioned grudge match? This dude ain't been around. He hasn't wrestled in 10 years with any regularity, and he comes back and gets a title shot at 60 years old? Really? Come on. And that's what messes up the WWE for me, because TKO is trying to make all of this money, which I'm not against. Make your money, but make it make sense in the process. Stay true to your storylines.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's not the wrestling that we're invested in. We're invested in the stories. We're invested in the wrestlers' stories. We're in the show in the ring is just part of the appeal. What's the backstory? What is this person fighting for? Hogan, I'll give this to Vince. Hogan became the real American hero because we were in the middle of a Cold War with Russia and Iran. Bob Backlund, the good old American boy, was beaten by the Iron Sheik with a turncoat named Sergeant Slaughter at his side. And Ivan Koloff. So you had a Russian, an Iranian, and a turncoat American. So we invested in Hulk Hogan because he was the good old American champion, the blonde hair, blue-eyed muscle guy who's going to restore dignity for us.
And he's a big...
It can't just be about a money grab. You've got to get your fans invested. You got to get us invested.
And now the yellow and red is dead.
It's dead. It's dead. The yellow and red is dead. It's dead. No more red. No more yellow and red.
I heard he's sick in the hospital right now. Something like
Yes, that is accurate. Hogan, we're praying for
that.
Terry
I'm not.
Bollea. We pray for a full recovery. You're not praying for
No.
Terry Bollea? That's not Christ-like.
Some of the things that he has said concerning my race is not Christ-like neither. So
That is true. After telling us to say our prayers and eat our vitamins. And I had the Hogan action figure with the ring and everything. Think back to having all that stuff as a kid. You're like, this guy don't even like me. I begged my mama for this thing, and she spent her hard-earned money for this to support this guy. Because again, that's the one thing I'll give Vince. He's been paying cash for merchandise for years. So he made money off of
Made
me.
money. Well, I don't know. I think we're in a good position.
But we thank y'all for joining
We're in
us.
a great position as a New York
What
Knicks
happened?
team.
Yes.
At least I know my coach likes my color. He likes our
Your coach is black.
I really believe that Mike Brown is the coach that's going to get us the ring. I have this feeling, and I usually, when I get that feeling, I'm usually right. So I'm really looking forward. You can see it in his eyes that he just wanted the season to start. Normally at a press conference that's introducing a new coach, you have the owner and you have the president of basketball operations out there taking questions and introducing the new coach. My man just walked out the door and was like, okay, I'm here. There was no introduction, no Leon Rose there, no World Wide West there, no James Dolan there. He walked out the door and was like, okay, I'm happy to be here, XYZ, any questions? Like it was very informal. Did you catch that, D-Lo? Like it was, and there was something about that I actually liked. Like I don't want any, I don't want the pomp and circumstances. Y'all know I'm hired. Y'all know what I'm about. This is what it is. This is how I feel. This is what I'm ready to do. And let's get this season started. Like I can feel that he wanted the season to start. Like if the season could start today, he could
Like
be
tomorrow.
He would be great. Yeah.
Dude already said, he said, I've already talked to all the players.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, dang, you just got the job yesterday. He called everybody. And Jalen Brunson and Cat is over in France, so you
Yeah.
know it's serious. They over there having vacation time. Nothing wrong with that, of course. But you could tell he's very excited about this job, and you want somebody who's going to be excited about the role, and someone who's going to bring this kind of energy to New York. I think he's exactly what the Knicks need. Quiet as this, Cap, I think Mike Brown's personality fits better. Taking nothing away from Tibbs, but I think Mike Brown's personality, that in-your-face, motivational type of guy, is exactly what this team needs. And he's not afraid. I just want to see how the media policy is going to work, because in every other stop, Mike Brown says what he wants to the media in the press conferences. So that's just going to be interesting to me. The first time there's a bad loss, what he said.
He's the first to hold his players accountable, and he's the first to defend them as well.
Yep, that's true. Oh, he'll get thrown. How many times did we say we just wanted to see Tibbs just get kicked out of one game defending his players? Mike Brown is the guy that's going to get in the ref's face and have to be held back. He's that guy that's going to get thrown out of a game to motivate his players. I love that. I think those type of coaches are necessary, because a player needs to know that, hey, my coach got my back. And they'll run through a wall for you. So looking forward to it. Don't forget, league schedule comes out August the 18th. Training camps open September 24th for the Knicks, as they will be traveling on October 1st to Abu Dhabi to play in the Abu Dhabi games on the 2nd and 4th of October against the Philadelphia 76ers and another team. I can't remember who it was. but the Knicks will get an extra week of practice before everybody else because they got to go to Abu Dhabi. And it's just going to be really very, very interesting. Oh, yeah, I would love to see Monica. Yeah, that's going to be great. The first time Monica McNutt sits down with Mike Brown, because you know she another one. She that chick, so she going to ask all the right questions. But Alan Hahn didn't do a bad job today. Alan Hahn didn't do a bad job. It was quick. He had to get off quick because he had to go do his radio show. But I think the Knicks are in good shape. Can't wait for the season to get started, and we're definitely looking forward to it. So, quick run of the scoreboard before we get out of here. The New York Liberty are leading 77-72 over the Vegas Aces with 3:27 to go in the fourth. Yankees have increased their lead to 10-0 over the Seattle Mariners. They're having a big game over there. And Davey said that game was over. Mets have tied it in the top of the ninth. It's 6-6 in the top of the ninth. Listen, it's baseball is a lot of fun. So we'll see y'all next Tuesday. Y'all have a great night. Hopefully J-Mac will be with us. We're going to talk some wrestling next week, this weekend, Saturday night's main event, and then Evolution on Sunday. So we'll have a lot of wrestling to talk about. Hopefully next week we'll also know what Mike Brown's staff is going to look like. We'll be able to talk about the rest of the assistant coaches that are there. Until then, Orange and Blue Skies are back, baby. Mike Brown is the new head coach of the New York Knicks. We will see you next week. Have a great night, everyone. Good night.
Yo, this is the state of emergency. Check. I need all my Knick fans right now to grab your jerseys, your popcorn, your sodas, whatever you gotta do to get ready for this game. I don't care if you're a cheerleader, an athlete, a couch potato. We're here to restore the feeling. Matter of fact, how do you say it from New York? What I say from New York? Hey, yo, let's go now. Hey, yo, I bring that New York energy. Talking 42nd Street, alley hoop finger roll. Ain't nobody checking me. Crossover through the legs, step back, hit a three. Still up in the hood, but got big baller tendencies. She just trying to get flued out to John Kennedy just to see the Knicks play, make a couple memories. New York, if you ain't from here, don't pretend to be. And if you ain't rocking with the Knicks, you an enemy. Yeah, look at us, whole city is wild. This is New York, why y'all ever counted us out? Any game we attend, yeah, we taking it now. Fast break on the court, all up and down. Lead a garden in the pigsty, yeah, we get it on this side. Bacon, egg, and cheese, or the lobster mac with the ribeye. Either way, we winning the overtime if we get tired. Get it with the team, yeah, that's just something we live by. Hey, yo, first quarter in, we gon' turn it up. Gotta warm up first, then we taking a dub. By the third quarter in, no, they ain't catching up. Gotta stay in the lead before that shot clock buzz. If the Knicks get a win, we gon' do it again. Make the finals once before, we gon' do it again. Bounce back in the fourth, we gon' do it again. It's been a while since the chip, but we gon' do it again, yeah. Yo, put your hands up. If you rockin' with the Knicks, put your hands up. Yo, put your hands up. If you from New York, put your hands up. Yo, look, put your hands up. If you rockin' with the Knicks, put your hands up.